In December 2018, Manchester United sent football news ablaze by firing Jose Mourinho. Though that decision wasn't particularly surprising, appointing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as his successor definitely was. The Norwegian had been a legendary forward at Old Trafford, but hardly boasted the managerial CV required to follow in the footsteps of the great Sir Alex Ferguson. Originally, he was only meant to stay for 5 months, but over 2 years later, and Solskjaer is still at the heart of the United project. The 48-year-old has survived longer than all 3 of his predecessors and is set to receive a new contract that should see his wages swell to around £9 million per year. The Red Devils' hierarchy are clearly happy with what they see. However, there is still a contingent of fans who believe United will never fulfil their true potential with Solskjaer in charge. But is this criticism really fair, and to what extent do his efforts warrant a new bumper contract? Let's find out. The biggest cynics point to one simple statistic when reviewing Solskjaer's work at United: 0 trophies. With no silverware since May 2017, the Red Devils are on course for their biggest trophy drought since the 80s. But while it may not be glory Man United, it's important to remember what state the club was in when the former Molde manager took the reins. Unsurprisingly, moving on from Sir Alex has proved a daunting task. David Moyes came and went in less than a year, Louis van Gaal was controversially fired just days after winning the FA Cup, and then came Jose Mourinho. The box office Portuguese coach delivered everything you would expect under his tenure. He won the League Cup and Europa League, plus guided United to second place in the table during the 17-18 season. Mourinho later described this achievement as one of his very best, as in his own words, people don't know what was going on behind the scenes. There were numerous fallouts between manager and boardroom, while the dressing room became an uneasy place under the former Chelsea boss. But for most fans, the biggest concern was the decline in quality on the pitch. Under the 2-time Champions League winner, United scored just 1.69 goals per game, the same as under Moyes, and rarely blew opponents away. So when he was finally shown the door in December 2019, few were upset to see him go. United were a club reeling from consecutive failures at management level, with a mixture of signings from all 3 predecessors. The squad were tired and emotional from the days under Mourinho, while the style of play had become almost unrecognisable to many in the Stretford end. The phrase "Ole at the wheel" was born out of the idea that the former Cardiff manager was hired purely to restore harmony at the Red Devils. Sure enough, the squad is much more settled, with Luke Shaw's return to the national team indicative of how previously maligned figures are enjoying their football once more. In Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Bruno Fernandes, the club have made significant strides to improving the squad, while the signings of Donny van de Beek, Arma Traore and Facundo Pellistri are welcome returns to investing in the future. But Solskjaer has achieved a lot more than merely improving the mood at Carrington. The Norwegian immediately set about reverting to an attacking style of football more synonymous with the club. In his first 21 matches in charge, United mounted 6 times the number of counter-attacks the Mourinho side had in only 3 games more, with Martial and Rashford now spearheading the operation. Things continue to progress the following season. They finished 3rd in the league, only suffering fewer defeats than champions Liverpool. However, they fell 33 points short of the Reds and lost at the semi-final stage of 3 separate competitions. This festered concerns that United lacked a winning mentality under Solskjaer that has continued into this season. At the time of writing, they sit 14 points behind leaders Manchester City, albeit with a game in hand, having been top at the halfway stage. Defeat to Leicester City in the FA Cup has left the Europa League as their only attainable trophy. Frustrating no doubt, but Solskjaer could still become the first manager to achieve back-to-back top 4 finishes with United in the past 8 years. And according to the statistics, their style has continued to progress. In 2019-20, 4 other teams outscored United. This term, only City have found the net more in the league, while only the Sky Blues bettered their 5.7 shots on target per game. As of January, 45% of Solskjaer's games in charge have seen his side score 3 times or more, well over what Mourinho managed and superior to David Moyes and Louis van Gaal. Slowly but surely, attacking flair is returning to United. However, this season, Solskjaer's problem has been delivering electric performances on a consistent basis. In 2021, United have fluctuated between crushing Southampton 9-0 and beating City away to losing at home to Sheffield United and enduring 4 separate 0-0 draws. It's a similar story in the Champions League, where they were able to brush aside Leipzig 5-0 before losing 3-2 to the same opposition just months later. These laborious results have provided new ammunition for disgruntled fans, while Gary Neville claimed United were sleepwalking into the top 4 following a dire draw with Crystal Palace. There are also questions about the over-tactical reliance on Bruno Fernandes. When playing on the counter-attack, United are generally more efficient, picking up on average 2.1 points per game when they've had less than 50% possession. When forced to dominate proceedings, that figure drops to 1.7, with a win rate below 50%. The addition of Fernandes has helped improve United's foothold in matches. The Portuguese playmaker has been exceptional this term, contributing to 46.4% of their goal involvements in the Premier League, a figure only beaten by Harry Kane at Spurs and Callum Wilson at Newcastle United. Unsurprisingly, when he doesn't play, the Red Devils struggle to inspire, as seen in their limp defeat to Leicester City when he was left on the bench. But in Solskjaer's defence, this could point to a lack of general depth in his squad. Fernandes' natural rival Paul Pogba has missed 54 games since the start of 2019 with injury, while issues with his form and commitment have continued to linger. Beyond that, most fans would agree United hardly have a squad befitting of the second best sides in England. This is particularly poignant in attack, where no player but Fernandes has hit double figures in the league. Anthony Martial is on just 4, having scored 17 last term, while Marcus Rashford has still only managed more than 10 league goals once so far. So it's important to remember that compared to the likes of City, Liverpool and Chelsea, Solskjaer is arguably working with an inferior squad. Yet the club are 12 points better off than they were this time last year, with this being their closest push for a title in the post-Ferguson era. And for all the anguish that defeat to Leicester provided, it was still United's first away loss to British opposition in 30 attempts. Believe it or not, progress is being made. Another factor helping Solskjaer secure a new deal is the lack of any appropriate replacement on the market. The biggest perceived threat to his status was always former Tottenham coach Mauricio Pochettino, but now the Argentine has taken the top job at Paris Saint-Germain, those rumours have faded away. Beyond Pochettino, there are no outstanding available candidates. Laurent Blanc has been in the managerial wilderness for too long, while the defensive football of 6-time Serie A winner Massimiliano Allegri would be a poor fit at Old Trafford. The reality is that with Thomas Tuchel now at Chelsea and even Carlo Ancelotti at Everton, most of the suitable alternatives are already plying their trade in the Premier League. Achieving a top 4 finish in this heightened era of competition is no easy task, yet it's further credit to Solskjaer that his side look on course to achieve just that. Of course, United could turn to foreign talents such as Leipzig's Julian Nagelsmann, but recent changes behind the scenes at Carrington suggest from the boardroom's perspective, handing Solskjaer a new contract is the next logical step. After much deliberation, the club have finally added a technical director to their ranks in former midfielder Darren Fletcher. Not only that, John Murtough has been promoted to football director following 7 years in various roles at United. Solskjaer was an instrumental voice in the shake-up, having already enjoyed a long and positive relationship with both Murtough and Fletcher. It's also telling that the club described the changes as an evolution, not a revolution. In short, the new power structure sees the trio work as a team on equal footing, rather than the common European model where the head of football is superior. This should improve how the club does business in the transfer window and avoid fiascos such as the Jadon Sancho pursuit. Under the new structure, Executive Vice Chairman Edward Woodward will take a step back, with Murtough becoming the main point of contact over transfers. Solskjaer and his team should now have greater autonomy and influence over choosing future targets. Ultimately, the new hybrid system is intended to develop the foundations which their former number 20 has created, and provide him with a supportive environment going forward. Therefore, removing him from that process would be a nonsensical decision. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows perfectly well that for many, finishing in the top 4 is a minimal requirement at Manchester United. Just ask Roy Keane. And the longer silverware evades him, the greater the scrutiny will get. Failure to convert in the Europa League this season should be quite rightly scorned. Otherwise, the next 12 months will prove particularly testing. But Solskjaer deserves plenty of credit for the job he has done, considering what was initially expected of him. Performances can still improve, but work in the market should help achieve that. The 48-year-old has simply done more right than wrong in his time in charge, and deserves the opportunity to continue. Not everyone will agree, but no one ever does when it comes to a giant like United. So that was RFD Explained on whether or not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deserves a new deal at Manchester United. What do you think? Should he continue? And if not, who do you want to see take over at the Red Devils? Make sure you're liked and subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, and we'll see you next time.